Thank you very much. So we continue remembering the life of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who died on the 5th of June 2025 in South Africa, where he had gone for specialized treatment. On Thursday morning, we received the message that he had passed on. Now, we in the quest to just get to hear the feelings of people around about the passing of President Edgar Lungu, today we have decided to visit the residence of former Vice President Inonge Wina, who worked closely with President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, just to get her feelings about the passing of President Edgar Lungu and how she feels that the former president should be mourned. Thank you very much. So we are here at the residence of the former Vice President, Her Honor Inonge Wina, where we just want to talk to her and get to hear her thoughts as regards the passing of the former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who died in South Africa on Thursday. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you so much for coming to my residence. Of course, the initial reaction was disbelief, because I was with someone who had been to South Africa and was interacting with the former president, and he sounded very well. So when the news of his demise reached us, first of all, I did not believe, but when it was confirmed, I was devastated. I'm still in that state of denial. But when these things happen, they happen and we have to accept. As a person I worked with for 7 years, in constant touch, I would sum up his contribution to Zambia as enormous. You remember when he assumed the power, taking after Michael Sata, the media, were asking him, what is your vision? And he said, I have no vision. I want to see a prosperous Zambia. But he wanted to see that prosperous Zambia through the infrastructure development that was started by his predecessor. And as such, he was very focused on the implementation of infrastructure to open up Zambia to the outside world, to open up Zambia to other African countries through infrastructure. So he was a very focused man. He knew what he was doing. He was ushered into that seat. As you know, there is no school where you go to train as a president or a vice president. You learn on the job. And it's quite tasking, but he was, I think, up to the task.
How would you describe his leadership on his way to ensuring that Zambia attains this prosperity that he thought about when he spoke about his vision being a prosperous Zambia?
His style of leadership was perhaps different from some other leaders that we have worked with. For example, he was very accommodating. He left the ministers to do their work without interference. Unless a minister meets some obstacles in his discharge of his duties or her duties, that's when the president would intervene. He also gave a lot of power to some of our institutions to carry out their work. He was very instrumental in guiding his subordinates, and he was very unassuming. You never detected a feeling of, this man is head of state. And he is so humble. He does not believe that he knows everything in the world. He was one of the workers of this country, because he believed in collective leadership, that of his colleagues, that of people who worked with him closely, like myself. He would listen to advice, and he would give guidance.
In what ways do you think that President Lungu's passing will impact the political landscape of Zambia, considering that he had shown interest in coming back to lead the country?
The impact will be felt immediately, because, as you know, he had joined other political parties. He had brought together other political parties, not necessarily to be voted in as president, but to ensure that there is unity in the country between and among the political players. So definitely the vacuum will be felt, and we are already feeling it. And I'm hoping earnestly that the Tonse Alliance that he was able to forge together, or to bring together in reality, will continue, and that the leaders in those various political parties will adhere to the spirit of oneness in honoring our former Republican President, Edgar Chagwa.
Speaking of honoring the former president, you speak of him as somebody who greatly contributed to this country. How do you feel that he should be mourned?
I believe that Dr. Lungu was a humble man. He was a polite man. He was a dignified figure. And as such, we should mourn him with all the dignity that he deserved. However, what I have noted in the political realm is that there's already an exchange of sometimes heightened unnecessary tension, particularly among the political players. I hope that the political parties, and let me give a piece of advice, particularly to the ruling party. The ruling party, the UPND, has a huge responsibility to ensure that there is peace in this country. And the peace will come about through civil interactions. In my tradition, we say that somebody who mourns should not be listened to, because the heart is heavy. The spirit is sometimes even confused. So if you listen to someone who mourns, you'll pick a lot of sometimes unnecessary sayings, sometimes even accusations. And I believe that this is the state we are in at the moment. That's why I'm appealing to the ruling UPND party officials that they should not listen to the mourners. The family of Dr. Lungu is devastated. The family of PF members that Mr. Lungu led are devastated. And as such, it will be prudent for the other politicians, particularly those in the governing party, not to react quickly to what they hear from the family or the leaders, because whatever the leaders are saying in the public space, these are instructions from the family of Dr. Lungu. And the family is in a state of mourning. And definitely the family needs all the support that we should give to that family, from Mrs. Lungu to the children to the relatives of the late. I really beg that we, as a country and as political parties in particular, we do not accelerate the exchange of negative sayings on the death of our leader.
What would be your advice to the Lungu family as they mourn, and also the Patriotic Front? Because we've seen that there are two funeral gatherings now at Belvedere and at the PF Secretariat.
It's a bit, it's rather unfortunate that we have to mourn our leader in this manner. But there's no reason why the venue for mourners can be in different places. However, perhaps the government came up late with the idea of an official venue, because the party had already set up at the party secretariat to be the center for information collection and as a venue for those who are coming from the provinces. For example, they have to collect some information on a number of issues relating to the passing of our leader. But mourning in various places does not necessarily mean that people are not in mourning or people want to fight. I do not believe so. And I think the new venue at the Belvedere site came in after the party had to organize something so that people know where they go to as they arrive in Lusaka or as they converge to get more information.
As we come to the end of this interview, what would be your word of advice to Zambia at large, even as we mourn our former president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu?
This is not the first time we are mourning the head of state. We have gone through these trials before, and we have maintained peace in the country. And there is no reason why, even in this particular circumstance we find ourselves, we should not adhere to peace. Mr. Lungu was a very peaceful man. He never knew how to quarrel with anyone. And we have to keep it that way. So for those that are already uttering words that injure others, I ask them, I beg them to stop. For those that feel that this is the time to be excited because a leader who might have posed a political threat is gone, they have to stop. That man was a man of peace, and we should honor him in that manner. And I believe the family will be at ease if they see a change in attitude of some of the political players that seem to be so excited about what has happened, or are so aggrieved that they may do silly things. So I beg every Zambian to honor Dr. Lungu through conducting ourselves peacefully. I would like to share with the country about Dr. Lungu. We may not have enough time to do it, but the man was passionate to see a prosperous Zambia. You know, he grew up during the Kaunda era until 1990, when Dr. Kaunda relinquished his presidency. However, during that period, Zambia was embarking on a road towards development of the industrial sector. And I think Dr. Lungu was of the opinion that let's build on what Dr. Kaunda had left. We had in this country some of us who are freedom fighters, who fought for this country, who fought for our people to be free from oppression, to be free to associate, to be free to speak our minds on things that go wrong, to be free to commend when things go right. And Dr. Lungu was of the opinion that it's important in nation building to build steps towards the achievement of the prosperity that we are looking for. For example, the infrastructure development that we embarked on was, as I said earlier, to open up Zambia to the outside world. Today, the continent of Africa is talking about the Africa Continental Free Trade area. And there are obstacles now we find in this program or project to start running, simply because of the constraints in the infrastructure development around the continent. Dr. Lungu believed in accelerating infrastructure to open up Zambia for ease of doing business. For example, the new bridge at Kazungula now is connecting Zambia to Botswana, to Zimbabwe, to South Africa, to Namibia, easily in a short space of time. Whereas before it took us days to be able to achieve that. Today the Kalabo-Mongu bridge, you can drive from Mongu to Kalabo in 45 minutes. A trip that would have taken you 8 hours in the past. So you can see how important infrastructure development is. Today, the new administration is recruiting so many health workers. Why? Because they found that we had put in place so many rural health centers, so many mini hospitals in the rural areas, so that our people could have access to health care. Today, we hear about the dressing up of our school classrooms with desks, with what have you, simply because the schools that were built during our time and the schools that have been built now needed the infrastructure of desks in those units. So you can see that there was a plan towards developing this area, this country. The industrial base that we lost after Kaunda through privatization, a program that was given to the Zambian government by the World Bank and the IMF, took us backwards. We were already a manufacturing country. We were making tires in this country through Dunlop in Ndola. We were making radios in Livingstone. We were making all sorts, we were manufacturing all sorts of commodities in our country. And we lost all that due to privatization. The Copper Belt towns went to sleep. Why? Because the mines were now taken over by foreigners, away from that CCM that was building infrastructure, sports stadiums on the Copper Belt and elsewhere. We lost. And for Zambia to come back to what it was, we need to build on the legacy of the past. And what I see in Zambia is when a new administration takes over, they tend to do away with what the others had started. And to me, this is mismanagement. For example, when the PF government came into power, the new administration started to build or to cut up Zambia in pieces of